Voilà, le son devrait être bon maintenant. Oui, ok, super. Alors, voilà. Je crois que c'est bon. Et bien voilà, hein, bienvenue à tous. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Papa PC channel for this very first podcast actually. So yeah, I'm really happy we're doing this live today because the PC market has been moving fast over the past few days, and honestly, this is one of those moments where headlines can completely change the way builders make decisions. And I'm going to wait, let's say, a couple of minutes before people are gathering here. Like this, I can check the flux, for example, if everything goes well. Yeah, it seems so. All right, yes, perfect. So yeah, don't hesitate to post your messages if you have some, or just to say hello if you pass by. So yeah, as I said, I'm going to still wait a tiny bit. So in the chat, be nice, be respectful, and that's it. Everything will go well. I can see here the first messages. Okay. So where do I see it? Okay, here. I'm going to put this in an extra. Yeah. In an extra window. Hello there. All right. So I'm going to put back the chat. Okay. So I think we can start. Oh, hello. Okay. Well, yeah, I also hope to give you some good news about the prices, definitely. So I'm still answering. So thanks for joining. All right, so, well, let's start. So as I said, the market, the PC market has been crazy, and over the past few days, things really took a different direction, and this is why I decided to make this podcast today, to talk about it, and to let you also express yourself if you want to talk about it. So yeah, that's exactly why I wanted to update this stream just a few hours before going live. Yeah, I still did last minute changes in my notes, and let's hope those are fresh news for you. Because now we're having more concrete than rumors. And we're going to start right now. So TrendForce is now confirming that DDR5 prices are cooling across retail in the US, Europe, and China. So far so good. Good news, right? So let's see if it's just a little correction of the market, or if this is a more, let's say, stable way and stable, what I say, current to go down. We'll see that coming weeks. So this sounds like this sounds like the kind of sentence PC builders have been waiting months to hear. But the really important nuance is this: contract memory prices haven't moved at all. So yes, if you have followed the market, you know that, for example, Samsung, HK Hynix, and also Micron really dropped in the past 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks or so. The biggest drop was 28.5%. So it was a big drop for the ones who are holding these stocks, and they lost a lot of money. But to me, this is still a correction. Okay, so end of the first quarter, dividends. It's not yet, to me, a real trend. So let's see how things are going to be in the coming weeks, as I said. Yes, so where was I? Right here. Okay. And that change is was expecting, as I said, but that changes the whole interpretation. So now I really want us to answer one big question together. Is DDR5 finally becoming normal again, or are we just getting baited by short-term retail discounts and scary headlines? Because it's also, here is the thing, it's also somehow coincided with, for example, Amazon Spring Sales. So all of a sudden, bam, you get 20% off your DDR5. Great. Prices are going down. But why? Okay, so we really need to analyze the markets globally, not just a specific situation. And on top of all of that, NVIDIA has also released this week the DLSS 4.5 beta further with dynamic multi-frame generation, new x5 and x6 modes, a new B preset, and also the fixes, and the fixes specifically aimed at UI flicker and crosshair instability. Okay, so this is what we have now. All right, so this live is really about something bigger than just RAM, of course. It's about whether the PC market in 2026 is actually healing or just changing the way it hurts our wallets. Okay? Okay, so une mise en mémoire tampon sera nécessaire. Okay, so I can see that the live was a bit paused. Yeah. Okay, anyway, that's fine. I think it's okay. So before we dive into the analysis, I want your gut feeling. What price should a 32 gigabytes DDR5 kit hit before it feels normal again? 200 bucks, 180, or back as it used to be, which means under 180? 150? For example, the sticks that I have here, I got them below $100 last summer. So, yeah. I'm waiting for your comments now in the chat. So, what kind of price would you expect? Okay? I let you type what would you feel normal about the price. Okay, so Okay, here have an answer. Yeah, 150 would be nice. Well, yeah, definitely. That would be already a big step towards the normality. So yeah, that would be great to have again this kind of prices instead of being instead of feeling literally robbed when you get your RAM sticks. Okay, so I'm waiting for more. No, not yet. I thought I had something on the other screen. Okay. Yes, definitely. Yeah, hoping for the best, fearing the worst. At the moment, the market is extremely volatile still, and we can just assume. We can just assume. We cannot really predict with accuracy. So yeah. Apparently, the flux is not really good. Okay, which means that the life might be a bit. It says mediocre. Okay, that's weird because, yeah, normally it should be fine. I don't know why it's so bad. Okay, okay. So I can see here on that screen. Okay, got my Corsair Dominator 32 gigabytes here, 36,800 at 180 in sale. Yeah, definitely. That's yeah. Yeah, that was a fair price, definitely. Yeah. Thanks for commenting. Yeah. Yeah, especially the Dominator one usually. Yeah, the Dominator is usually more expensive than the other ones. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, nobody else who wants to express himself. I think it's okay. We can just move on. We're on time. We are perfectly on track, so that's great. All right, so I'm just gonna change the background. Let's see if I can do that because this is my very first one. Is that the one here? Yeah, all right, that's the one. Okay, perfect. It was not as smooth as expected, but at least this is good. All right, we're good now. So let's start with why the whole internet suddenly decided DDR5 was dropping. This all really accelerated when Google introduced TurboQuant. Now on paper, this is genuinely impressive. Okay, so TurboQuant, in a nutshell, is a memory compression system for AI inference workloads, specifically the KV cache that large language models use when generating responses. This is also very difficult for me. It's very technical, actually. So to simplify it, instead of storing temporary values at the usual 32 bits, Google can compress some of that data down close to 3 bits per value. That's a massive efficiency gain. And in some internal scenarios, the memory reduction can reach up to 6 times less RAM usage. Wow, that's massive. This 6 times, yeah, that's really massive. Yes. So, the moment investors saw that, the market did what it always does. Bam! It jumped to the most dramatic possible conclusion. Okay? So the memory-related stocks dropped fast. Samsung, SK Hynix, Micron, because the immediate logic became, oh, less AI RAM per task equal lower future DRAM demand, right? And honestly, this is where I think the market reacted emotionally instead of intelligently. Yeah, definitely. Because TurboQuant optimizes inference, not the entire AI pipeline, it doesn't magically erase training demand. That's the first thing. It doesn't suddenly make hyperscalers stop buying HBM. And most importantly, it doesn't mean consumer DDR5 should instantly become cheap again. Right? So, yeah, I guess that many of you heard also these very nice graphics where these three giants just fell off from the mountain. I mean, unless you actually had stocks of these companies, but for, let's say, the end users, it felt like a moment of fresh breeze. So yeah, that's the stuff there. Because yes, DDR5 is dropping, but the context is everything. Now let's zoom in into what actually matters for builders, the kits on store shelves. So one of the most shared example this week was the Corsair DDR5 6000 MHz 32 GB kit. People got excited because it moved from $409 to $370. Woohoo! A nice visible correction, right? And yes, on the surface, that absolutely looks like a progress, right? 40 bucks, yeah, almost 40 bucks in a pocket. Always good to take. But here's the part I refuse to ignore. The same kit historically hit around $87 at its low point. We are still far from that, right? Because this is not expensive becoming normal. This is absurd to slightly less absurd. The market isn't healed. It's just breathing. And honestly, I think this line perfectly summarizes the current DDR situation. Okay, so what is now your feeling about this little drop? Okay, just to be fair, yesterday there was a special offer at WOTT, W-O-T-T, United States, and they had this offer for the non-RGB DDR5 RAM from Corsair as well, and they had a super offer at $269. That is already something much more, let's say, tangible. That's already a big drop. But of course, first of all, it didn't really last long. It was sold out after, I think, a few hours after Tom's Hardware announced it. And second of all, again, it was not really a correction. It was a special offer. It was not a trend. Okay? So, yeah, it was just retailer behavior. It was not at all the trend of the market. And this is why this matters. This is where things become very real for you guys. Because now we are not just talking about Micron stock movement, Google's AI papers, and TrendForce graphs. We're talking about, would I personally buy this RAM kit tonight? Okay, so would you? Just a quick one. Would you buy these kits at sorry, not two, because those one are already gone. $369. Would you buy these kits of RAM right now? Just let me know. Oh, there's something here. No. I saw something coming actually. Wait. No, it was something else. No biggie. Okay, so yeah, I understand why. Unless you really need. Okay, that's good. Yeah, unfortunately the flux is not exceptional today. I don't know what's going on. It's a bit slow. But yeah, here in LATAM you can have a bit of everything. All right, so I'm going to continue. And for AM5 builders, this is a huge question. If you're targeting the Ryzen 7 9700X or the 7800 X3D, the B850 or X870, the RTX 5070 Ti class or above, and the 6000 MHz sweet spot memory, these flash dips may become the real buying strategy for 2026. Not waiting for MSRP, not trusting launch prices, but stalking real retailer discounts. And here, here I was again checking for this wood thing. Yeah, it's really a shame because at 269 it really started to be something, let's say, not a really good deal, but at least a fair deal. Let's say in the current market situation, of course. I'm not saying that you need to buy the RAM at $270 per kit of 32 gigabytes. Okay. So now, why this could be still a temporary solution? And this is where the smartest economic concept of today comes in. It's called the Jevons paradox. I didn't know about it before, so I had to read about it. Okay, so I'm not that into these things, but I'm going to explain it. So the simple explanation is, when technology becomes more efficient, human behavior usually increases usage instead of reducing it. Which means that instead of thinking, oh, that's great, I can do something 6 times faster, 6 times more efficiently. So I'm going to ease on my memory request, right? I'm going to ease on my resources. No, that's not how it works. Instead, you're going to ask your machine to produce more, to do more tasks. So in this case, if TurboQuant suddenly lets companies use less RAM per inference request, what do? Do they buy less hardware? No, of course not. They launch more agents, more chatbots, more users, more products, more background AI features, which means that basically what you're going to see all over the place are more memes as well, or more AI created art. So better efficiency can still mean higher total memory demand, right? And that's exactly why the contract memory market staying stable is such a huge clue. And when I say stable, of course there was a big drop until the 31st. But what happened after? On the 31st, if I remember well, Micron already jumped back by 10%. It went down again today, but very slightly. At least at the time where I'm speaking now, it was still very light, okay? But yeah, I still think this is a correction. I don't think this is something that is going to last, unfortunately. So yeah, retail cooled. Enterprise didn't. That strongly suggests this is a retail correction, as I said, not a real structural collapse, unfortunately. And now that we are done with this topic about the DDR5, let's talk about something else. It's gonna be the CPU pressure, okay? So again, I'm going to change the background because you're not talking about the same thing anymore. So I think that's the one right here. Voila. Here we go. Okay. So here it is. Okay. So regarding the CPUs, it was not long ago when AMD actually announced that the CPUs are going to increase. Of course, yeah, the CPU prices needed to increase because everything else increased. So as consumers are not hit enough, let's add another layer to it, right? So let's talk about something builders often notice too late, the CPU pressure. This is not necessarily about CPUs disappearing. It's about the same AI-driven pressure wave touching. Wafer access, advanced packaging, substrate capacity, server first allocation, and of course, there's a user impact. So here I'm going to pause a bit. All right. Because I need to check the chat right here. Economy, no, yeah, that's true. At the moment with this economy, yeah. That's absolutely correct. So unfortunately, yeah, it seems that the flux is not really good, and this is why there's a delay. Really sorry about that delay. I was not expecting this slowness, but let's hope it doesn't disrupt too much the live, and it doesn't disrupt too much the chat, okay? Especially the chat, because I can still see, yeah, I can still see that I'm rather behind right here. So let's go back to what I was saying regarding the CPUs. So that's how you suddenly get weird situations like X3D chips jumping overnight, Ryzen 9, for example, stock disappearing in some countries, Intel SKUs becoming inconsistent, and laptop CPUs going OEM first, right? Sometimes the CPU exists. The problem is the path it needs to take before reaching your card, okay? And this is why, indeed, yeah, we really can expect some issues. We really can expect some issues about the pricing in the coming weeks. Again, there were special spring sales on Amazon until, I think it was until the 31st. So basically you could get a Ryzen 9 9900X for roughly $350, something like this, which is a very good price. But unfortunately, first it didn't last. It was special sales, and now it's already back, I think, over $100 up. So yeah. But yeah, regarding the CPU market, if you need to get one, really check the offers and check what you can grab, because it can really fly from one day to another. I'm just answering here. Yeah, so where am I? Yeah, I don't know about how it went. I really hope that that it went smooth for you as well. I think there are kind of cuts, which is not very good because I have no idea. I have no idea what you missed. All right, so let's move now to the next part. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, I can see there were several mistakes in the flux. So honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea how it was visible for you guys. Okay. Yeah, I really cross the fingers for the how the live is shown to you guys, because to me it shows only 18 minutes at the moment, but it should be around 33. Yeah. So I have no idea what you missed, honestly. Anyway, now we're going to go to another topic, okay? Now we're going to go to the DLSS 4.5, which is right here. All right, so yes, perfect. This is the right background for now. So let's see. Because this is something which has been already tested in the past days. So I didn't test it yet. I didn't have the chance, but I heard actually good stuff about this DLSS 4.5. Apparently it helps. All right, so now let's move to the NVIDIA side, because this week's DLSS 4.5 update is actually very relevant to the GPU value discussion. So what changed? I'm going to do that instead. Okay. Yeah. So what changed? We have now the dynamic multi-frame generation, the ×5 and ×6 modes, and a very important B preset. So for once, consumers were heard, or at least they got the complaint and they understood that there was an issue with some of the other presets. So the preset B is NVIDIA's direct answer to early tester complaints, as I said. So crosshair, flicker, HUD, shimmer, and unstable UI layers. This tells me NVIDIA is no longer only chasing benchmark headlines. They are actively trying to fix the believability problem of generated frames. And talking about fixing, if you have an NVIDIA GPU, you have seen in the past weeks the multiple update and hot fixes. It was basically every second, every third day. It was crazy with the drivers. So I really hope that now they fixed this thing. So yeah, this is less about fake frames and more about making fake frames feel less fake. Okay? The real limit, so the same rule still applies. DLSS 4.5 only really shines when your base FPS is already strong. It amplifies smoothness. It does not replace true rendering performance. And even though I know that there's, I think, a couple of minutes, I see someone new there. So yeah, as I said, there's a difference between the live and actually what I'm talking about. I think I'm 2 minutes ahead of what you see. So I'm going to take benefit of this to ask you in the chat, what is your preset? So I'm going to type it. What is your preset? Do you play performance or quality or even native? Yeah, exactly. And if you tried the new DLSS, what's your impression? All right. Yeah, I should have put if you have tried, but anyway, I think you got me. You got my point. So it should be fine. Okay, so your turn now. Please tell me what you are playing. I know that we also followed by IT guys here. So yeah, just show up and tell me what is your impression. What is your impression? How do you play? Which presets? Or even if it's still a topic from before, so a topic that we already checked before, are you impacted as a professional of computers, as an IT? Are you really impacted, and how? All right, so I'm checking here. Yeah, so here it is. The flux is finally better. Yeah, it's really random here, so I wanted to try to have a smooth live, but apparently I will need to increase my internet connection if I want to keep doing these things. Here, LRM prices will down. I'm planning to build a PC. Please suggest. Sure. So yeah, here I have a question from someone in the chat saying that RAM prices will down. I am planning to build a PC. Please suggest. Yes. So what I would suggest is I still think, of course, I'm not a Nostradamus, but I still think that this prices now is a window, and it might go back up, at least in the close future. It might go back up. So if you really found an offer and you really need to build a PC, just go for it. Be very smart when you compare, because we're going to go there as well after. The GPUs are also very volatile. There are really some GPU in demand, like the 5070 Ti, which are still, it has recovered a bit from the madness of early January, but in general, it's still quite expensive for what it is. Yeah, so for the other part, CPU, if you find an offer, just go for it. Always take something that you need. Don't take something overpriced, okay? So take something that you need. So let's say if I had to build a PC right now, what would I take? So Intel or AMD? Honestly, I always had the preference for AMD for the price and also for the evolution. Usually AMD stays on one socket for multiple generations, which is normally not the case for Intel. They are talking about changing this, which would be good for the consumers, but I wait to see that. So basically, I would do exactly what I did now, except maybe for the GPU, I would go maybe for a 5060 Ti or a 5070, 12 gigabytes. Maybe I will not cross the line and go for the 5070 Ti, especially at the price it is now. But at MSRP, definitely I would still take it, the 5070 Ti. For the RAM, yeah, 32 gigabytes. I think that's the norm now. So for the latency, you can still tweak your RAM to make it faster, to make it running faster. For the motherboard, don't go for this X870 if you take an AMD processor. It's not worth it. Just take either a 650 or a 850. It's enough. It will basically run everything that you need at the speed that you need. You don't really need to go that extreme if you don't intend to overclock like crazy, or I don't know, doing some crazy 3D work because you have to. Okay, you will play very nicely anyway with the B650 or 850. For the rest, for the PSU, take something which is between 100 and 150, I would say. Depends on the GPU that you have. There are offers at the moment around actually 100 and 850 for 1000 watts. I think you are good for at least 3 to 5 years with that. Okay, so I think that's the good thing to consider. And basically this is it. AIO only if you are if you have hot temperature, for example, that would be something. Yeah. Otherwise, you can go for an air cooler. So I will list parts live. Okay. I think it's basically now, yeah. But I can do it as well. Yes, so yes. So where are we? Okay. 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 Okay, deposit video. Okay, right. So yeah, I was still answering to the gentleman there, Akila Bisham there. Okay, so that's for him. And he, okay, so here there's an answer for how you play. Yeah, 1440p multi-frame generation 3 times. Well, yeah, that's good. That's a good preset. I think I'm not far from that. I think I'm using ×2 in general. All right. So, yes. Now I'm going to talk about what I said about the GPUs. If there's no other questions, okay. So, yeah. So I will be there again. Here, the chat will be here. I'm just changing my windows right here. There you go. All right. So now regarding the GPUs, the GPU stock is better. Yeah. Value is still weird though. Okay. So we are clearly no longer in the impossible to find GPU era, but now we're in something almost more frustrating. The GPU exists, but the value still feels off. So basically, yeah, the price is still crazy, actually, right? The price is really, really, really crazy. And when you see that, you feel lucky when you had the opportunity to buy them end of, let's say until end of December, very beginning of January. That was it. After, it was basically gone. It was basically gone. And still, yeah, it has recovered a tiny bit, but yeah, it's still crazy. So why? Because the price tag is still tied to the GDDR pricing, the VRAM pressure, AI spillover demand, the board partner margins, of course. Yeah, and regarding NVIDIA's software strategy, and this is exactly why DDS 4.5 matters, strategically, okay? I'm non-native, but I think everybody knows by now. NVIDIA is extending the perceived life and perceived value of the same GPU through software. So, instead of having raw performance, I mean it's like this for some time to be fair. Instead of having raw performance, we having tweaks and filters and AI interaction and AI correction and so on and so forth to make your graphics looks better. That's it. And yeah, the hardware price hurts less when the software keeps making the card feel newer. But at the end of the day, I'm not really sure that we are going in the right direction. Okay? So, yeah, I have no idea if the buffer will help me to have a decent have a decent stream. Let's see that. And the weather is not good here today as well, so it might also influence, right? But yes, I really hope that at the end of the day you will be able to see this this live in the best conditions. If not, just tell me, and yeah, I will make another one for sure when I will have better internet. So here's my honest prediction. The DDR5 retail probably continues easing, but premium CL30 kits, the 64 gigabytes creator kits, the X3D CPUs, the higher end GPUs stay volatile longer. They are volatile and they will remain volatile, in my opinion. But I don't know, maybe you have other, how would I say, you have other view about it. But don't hesitate, don't be shy, please go ahead. Tell me if you think that this is just a little pause before another mountain climbing, or if we are slowly going back to what was normal still a year from now. Sorry, a year. Yeah, a year ago. Not from now. Yeah. So yes, the market is breathing, but no, it has not healed. At least not yet. Oh, I have another one for you here. If you had to build, let's say this weekend, so we are the 2nd of April, if you had to build this weekend, or now, would you buy now or wait another month or more? I'm waiting for your reactions. I'm going to type the question here, actually, because as the chat is a bit behind, let me see. I think we have lost some time. I'm going to type the question right here. All right, so now I put the question right here. So yeah, if you had to build, oh, actually I have another one. Or if you are, oh, oops, it doesn't type. Or if you are an IT professional, would you buy now for an upgrade? Yeah. So yeah, let's see how the reactions will be now. Yeah. Yes, so I can see reactions here. Yeah, actually reactions are coming here. Okay, okay, I see here someone says that I would stay put. Okay, well, yeah, okay. I understand, yeah. I don't know. I still don't know if that's the right moment to buy. Honestly, I'm a bit split because, yeah, it has slowed down, but to me, it still doesn't feel normal. And because of that, I wouldn't buy if I had to. Luckily, really luckily, yeah, I was really lucky to think about it. Last year, I basically changed most of the parts in 2025. So all the major components like CPU, GPU, motherboard, um, the AIO as well. Yeah, the AIO, the RAM, of course. Yeah. So so lucky to have found that last summer for a very cheap price actually. The PSU I changed it recently, and yeah, because there were some rumors about the copper price as well. The copper was rising, and of course, as you need some copper to make those PSUs, there were some talks about raising the prices for the PSUs as well. But yeah, it was 159 for that one for 1200 watts, so very fair. I think it was a good deal. I think it's still at this price. So if you want to change a PSU, you should not be hit the same way, I'd say. Yeah. Voila. So, um, but it's okay. Anyway, we don't really need more. We don't really need more reaction. This live will be on the channel very soon in the replay section. It will be on replay soon. I will check it first, but I really hope that there was no cut, because I saw some moments where the flux was so bad that it really seemed disconnected. So let's see. But yeah, just share your opinions. Don't hesitate, even after in the comments. Let's start a new conversation there. Let's speak openly about this crazy market. For sure, it was a very